What's up, guys? It's been a while since I did any kind of content for YouTube. To say the pandemic, or I should say plandemic, sorry, I'm one of those people, has mentally had me in a slump. So, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there in a slump and physically in a slump also, because I was in a physical slump for a while too. So I figured, why not start from scratch? So if you're watching this video and you've gained, 5, 10, 15, 20, God, I'm sure some people probably gained up to 50 or even more during this bullshit, sitting at home with food there and not much else to do. It's been pretty horrible. So I'm doing a quick video, hopefully it's not too long. I'm not going to make it too complicated. This is for people who have never dieted but want to diet. And if you want your diet to work, the best way for it to work, regardless if you do keto or you do carb cycling or a vertical diet or a carnivore diet or anything, is to remain consistent. I'm sorry, but I do not agree on the people who fast all day and then eat one giant fucking meal and put all their things in there. There's a bunch of hormonal reasons for that, with how your body responds to the carbs or macros, I should say, that your body takes in. And anything you don't use immediately, your body's going to store, so that's why I don't agree with that. Having said that, so if you are a person who does not know where to start, that's what this video is for. You're the stay-at-home mom, or you're the mom working 3 jobs, or you're the dad who has no time, or whatever. First start, the first week, at least 3 days, something. Chart what you eat. Okay, just write it down. Doesn't matter what you eat. Doesn't matter you eat a pizza. Doesn't matter you eat chips. Whatever. Write it down and then take a good look at it. All right, and see where it goes. Okay, I'm gonna guarantee you that most of you do not have a regimented routine of eating. Even breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Most people get up, drink coffee. Eat coffee. Yeah, you're not eating coffee. You might snort it, but you're not gonna eat it. Don't try that either. So most people don't get up and have a breakfast. You should have a breakfast that's pretty well rounded, all 3 major macros, fats, carbs, protein, in my opinion. And you should have a lunch and you should have a dinner, and that's a good place to start because a lot of people don't even do that. All right. So take what you eat, write it down, and see where you're at. And I'm going to assume that most people, breakfast is like a cup of coffee. And then lunch is somewhere between 11 and 3, and they'll have lunch, and it'll be fast food of some sort. Even Chipotle is even fast food, but it's definitely a healthier alternative than, say, McDonald's or Burger King with the fries and stuff like that. And the reason Burger King and McDonald's and all those things are so unhealthy is because most people get a giant regular soda, which is all sugar, which is horrible. French fries, which is all starches on top of that, which almost break down as sugar, in fried oil, which has been altered by being heated. And then with the burger is actually usually the healthiest part, regardless of fat content. So that's a little info for you. And then by the time you get home for dinner, most people sit down and gorge. They'll try to eat healthy, and if they eat healthy, then they'll gorge on something later. It is not uncommon that I had clients that would eat an entirely clean meal. This is going back 15, 20 years ago when I was doing clients for free at my gym. And it would not be uncommon for me to read these things, and people would tell me that, oh, well, what did you eat? Because you're not losing weight. So I'd ask what they ate, and the first 4 meals look great. And then around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, they would get so fucking hungry, they would eat an entire bag of chips. And I mean an entire bag of chips, I didn't mean the little baked Lay's, I meant a Doritos. And, or they would eat a half gallon of ice cream, or they would eat half a pizza or something like that, or even a whole pizza in some cases, to be honest. And that's the problem, is that, and this is why eating every 3 hours in smaller meals is more important. I know there's people out there who will say that, oh, you don't have to do that, and the research says this, and the research says that. All right, I've seen studies that were done. I can't tell you how many times studies have been disproven over and over again with different things, okay? So take every study you read with a grain of salt, okay? Unless there's a study, and it's like, because I mean, honestly, you need water every day, but if you drink too much water, you can kill yourself. So like, there's always a study for saying you need to drink more water, you need to drink less water. Like, all right, that's the example. So what you need to do is, if you're starting from scratch, 2 things you should do: get up first thing in the morning and walk 20 minutes if you do no exercise. Just walk 20 minutes. You know, you're going to work your ways up to 40 minutes or 45 minutes, but just start with 20 minutes. Get that out of the way, and then have your breakfast and have something from all 3 macro sources. They should be about 30-30-40 or 40-30-30, any variety. Like a bagel with 2 eggs, you know, is usually pretty good for a start. There's no greens in that. That's why I like to do omelets with spinach, but that's, you know, we got to start somewhere with you guys. So the first thing is to get 3 meals at least that are roughly the same size, and they're consistently the same amount of time apart. So 3-4 hours if that's what you're going to do. So what's going to happen eventually is that you're going to be slightly hungry before every meal once your body starts evening out. What'll happen then is you're going to need to decrease the amount of time between the meals, because your body's basically burning what it needs and saying, I'm hungry for the next meal, and you're burning what it needs and saying, I'm hungry for the next meal. And that's what's going to keep your metabolism going. I've used this with a lot of clients, and honestly, the clients who come at me that are actually, I don't like to say this to be mean, but the most out of shape or have done the least amount of work are usually the ones that have the best results. You know, the clients who come to me that you know, have been doing something, usually only lose a pound or 2 or maybe 3 pounds the first week. But I've had clients that have lost between 7 to 12 pounds from their first meeting with me to their first check-in. And that makes things a little bit tough also, because that's a little too fast in my opinion, because your body has a point of homeostasis that it gets accustomed to sitting at. And that's the part that's hard to break. So my advice to you is, once you get your meals, whatever you're eating, it doesn't necessarily need to be clean food right off the bat. It's more about getting the regimented 3-4 meals through the course of the time that you're awake. So get up, stay fasted for about an hour. You can fast for up to 3 hours if you want in the morning, if you're really into that fasting kick. But then you got to and do some cardio, and then you got to get that first meal in. And then every 3-4 hours, you're going to have a meal after that, and basically till you go to bed. And if you're still hungry before your last meal, and say your last meal is 2-3 hours before bed, have a protein shake or something. I personally drink egg whites a lot, but that's just me. Protein dairy doesn't really go too great on my stomach. There's a few companies out there that are all right. I like Metabolic Nutritions. Theirs is pretty good. I had Rise recently. That wasn't too bad. So once you get the regimented down, and you want to keep this all written so you know what you're doing, you want to start to pull out, like let's say you have 4 meals and you had that bagel with the eggs, and then for lunch you had Chipotle, for the sake of argument right now, and for dinner you're having a pizza. You're going to want to pull something out and replace it with something that's much more healthy. All right, so pull the pizza out and, you know, maybe get an antipasta salad. Again, an antipasta salad is something that you would not probably diet on getting ready for a show, because it's filled with like lunch meats and stuff like that. But it's still progress in the right direction. The problem is with most diets, and why they fail, is because people set unreasonable expectations right off the get-go. And that's, you know, you decide to start working out, you don't go run a marathon. You know, and it's the same thing with food. It's the same thing if you're going to take gear. You don't need to take Ronnie Coleman's cycle from day one. You know, there's much less you need to take. And you need to do much less working out to lose those first 15 pounds than you need to lose that last 3 pounds before a show. That last 3 pounds for a show for some people takes 12 weeks to come off, because your body, again, has homeostasis and it doesn't want to be that low. And by homeostasis, not only is it just a set body weight, your body usually has a body fat percentage it's very comfortable at. So, having said that again, you want to take the meals, whether it's 3, 4, 5, depending on how the size of you. The smaller the people are, the smaller the meals are going to be, and probably less frequent the meals are going to be. But if you're like a 300-pound dude that's like 6'6", got one of those clients, he's eating 7 meals a day, probably, I don't even know what his calorie content is right now. He's actually on diminished calories, but it's off the chart. But it's clean food. You know, we started out with bagels and stuff like that, and then we switched over to rice and potatoes and stuff like that. But you basically need to look at your diet and you need to think objectively and not just think about yourself. You need to be like, what should I be eating in this, and what do I enjoy eating? You know, there's a lot of things out there that you can cook. The problem is a lot of people can't cook and they don't know what to make. You know, so obviously, like, you know, any protein source that's not too fatty is pretty much healthy. You know, any fish, chicken, beef, egg whites, tofu, if you're into that shit. Not me. I have cut out a lot of animal things that I don't deem necessary. Like, I will never eat veal again just based on the way they raise them. My company is vegan. It's not vegan because I'm vegan. It's vegan because I feel it's the right thing to do, and because it's not necessary to have non-vegan products in supplements these days. It's just not necessary. You can get around everything with a vegan alternative, except for whey protein, obviously. So take your diet, write it out. No matter what you're eating right now, write it out. Get a number at it. Try to get a calorie content for it. And if your calories are much heavier at night than they are in the morning, you need to spread that back out towards the beginning of the day. You should have one of your biggest meals first thing in the morning, okay? And you should have your biggest meal before the gym if you go to the gym, and your biggest meal after the gym. Having said that again, you want to make sure that you are taking something out and putting something healthy in. So, example, the bagel that with 2 eggs or whatever that we started with, if you want to get a healthier version of that, we would switch to, say, half a cup of oats, and you would make a egg omelet. And you could use the reduced sugar oatmeal if you wanted to. It's like 7 grams of sugar, I believe. And we can go there. And if you want to get that meal even more strict, what we could do from there is we can then go into dry oatmeal. Not eating it dry, but a half a cup dry oatmeal, and serve it up how you want. You can put stevia on it. And then the eggs, you could switch to egg whites with spinach. And now you have basically everything you need. You got your fiber, you got your macros of protein, you got your carbs, you got some fat in the oatmeal also, and there's also more protein in the oats. So it's a very well-rounded meal at that point. And by the time you get to that point of stepping down from whatever you were eating or not even eating, it'll be very easy to eat. But if you try to jump into just eating a half a cup of oatmeal with egg whites, odds are you're going to fail. Your body's so accustomed to the sugar or the fat or just the coffee that you drink in the morning that you're not going to be able to do it. Some people can do it. Don't get me wrong. This isn't a challenge. You know, this isn't like, hey, watch me do this shit. It's more of me trying to tell you, like, once you form, for lack of a better word, a habit, you will be consistent with it. And consistency is basically the key to dieting. It's actually the key to everything. It's key to relationships. It's the key to life. You know, just remain consistent. And yeah, hopefully that'll work, and hopefully that'll get you started. I'm sorry for anybody who was looking for, you know, the next protocol to be Mr. Olympia, but this is just where my head is at today. And yeah, so that's the video for today. I'll try to do another one this week. I've been really horrible with it, so I'm sorry for that. If you like the video, click like. If you don't like the video, don't subscribe. If you like the video, subscribe. And that's basically it, man. I appreciate you guys that do follow me. And if you want anything off the website, use code Corporeal, which means of the body, on the website, and you will get, I think, 35% off on anything that you want to buy on there. Hopefully, if you made it to the end of the video, now you'll see that. All right, thanks, guys. Later.